I'm Victoria and this is What Victoria Read. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I just wanted to do a chatty video. I mean, do I do any other kind of video? Not really. Basically, I have been on Booktube for 4 years now as of last November, which is crazy. And I realised that the last time that I did a video talking about how I rate books was, I think, like less than 6 months into my Booktube channel. So I'll link my other video in the description if you want to see baby Booktube, What Victoria Read, talk about rating books. But things have changed and developed, and I feel like I'm overdue for an update on this video. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm just going to chat it through, basically. So the first thing to say is, when it comes to rating books, I go on vibes. Okay, if you want booktubers who do a deep dive into the quality of the literature and looking at the topics and the subject matters and all of that things, those kind of things, like people who put real thought and effort into their reviews and into their ratings, then I would suggest Jessie at Bowties and Books. Jessie is easily the best book reviewer that I know. Or know of. I can't claim to know Jessie, but know of. Olivia Savannah at Olivia's Catastrophe is also like put so much thought into it, so I would also recommend and suggest her. Leanne at Literary Diversions is often someone who puts into words what I'm feeling when it comes to books. We do have quite opposite opinions on books sometimes, but it's usually her that can kind of cut to the heart of it for me and sum up some of my thoughts, even if they're slightly different from what she thinks, if that makes any sense. And also Hilary at Melted Books, she's another one who is super thoughtful, firstly about what she reads, but also the way that she reviews. So if you're looking for kind of nuanced discussions about book ratings, I would recommend those 4 booktubers. I'd recommend them anyway, they're incredible creators, and I will obviously have linked them in the description. But for me, I go on vibes. I go on the feeling a book gives me, and it's not usually any deeper than that. So that's kind of the preface for this. Also, obviously, the usual Booktube disclaimer. Rating books is entirely personal. So what might be a 5-star read for me might be a 1-star or a DNF for somebody else, and that's okay. That's what makes this interesting. If we all had the same ratings for all of the same books and all of the same thoughts, it would just be really boring and there'd be pretty much no point in Booktube. So opinions will vary, and that's okay. Okay, so I use a 5-star rating system. I know there's the core pile system that lots of people use. To me, that's just it just looks too complicated for my little brain to deal with. I know lots of people enjoy it, and that's great. If it works for you, do what works for you is always my thought. But for me, my brain looked at it and went, no. So I just used the 5-star rating. This year I have started giving half stars. And that was mostly because last year I read a lot of 4-star books. I was really lucky. I had a really, really good reading year. But I had a lot of 4-star books. And when I was looking back at the list, I was like, oh, that was a better 4-star than that one, but they've got the same rating. And so I wanted something to give me a little bit more nuance. And previously, I think I said it in my original video 500 years ago, I didn't give half stars because I felt like you should just make a decision. Is it a 4 or is it 5 or is it a 3? Like, what is it? But one of the things that's changed is I can now see the benefit of having that little bit of nuance. I don't give quarter stars. Maybe that will change in the future. For right now, that feels a little bit pernickety for me. But I have started giving 4 stars, and that has really helped with ratings, especially between 3 and 4 stars and 4 and 5 stars. I'm finding it a really helpful way of kind of differentiating which books, like being able to put them into an order in terms of enjoyment. So yeah, there's that. I use the 5-star rating, but I have started giving half stars this year. So we'll start at the bottom and work upwards so that we finish on a positive note. DNFing. I DNF. I am a pro DNFer. I DNF'd 20 books last year, having finished like 157 books. Did I finish on last year? I can't remember, and I haven't got my notebook to hand. But I think it was 157. Excuse me. I am a pro DNFer. It's definitely a skill. It's definitely something that takes practice. I firmly believe in DNFing, so DNF stands for did not finish. I firmly believe with putting down a book and walking away forever if you are not enjoying it. I read books for pleasure. occasionally I have to read books for school, but I read books primarily for pleasure. And if I'm not enjoying it, what is the point? Genuinely, what's the point? So I will generally give a book about 50 pages, sometimes 100. Sometimes I give it 100 pages if it's a book that I've been looking forward to reading. Sorry guys, at the time of filming I've still got this horrible flu thing, but we're pushing through. I'm feeling much better today. I will give a book 100 pages if it's a book I was excited to read and I know that I'm tired. So I try not to start books during term time in the week, because I just know that I'm so exhausted I won't take it in properly. So I try in the week just to be continuing books that I started at weekends, but occasionally I'll pick something new up, and if I know that I'm really tired and I'm not focusing properly, I will give it 100 pages rather than 50. But if I get to that point and I'm still not connecting to it, I will DNF it. I have also been known to DNF books in the first 10 pages if I just can't get into it. An example of this from January is Golden Hill by Frances Spufford, and I'm really sad that I DNF'd this, but I'm also not going back to it. I'm sad about it for two reasons. One, my brother gifted this to me, I think for my birthday last year, and two, it's blurred on the back by CJ, whoa, let's drop the book, by CJ Sampson, who, as you can see, we love. Oh, I thought I was going to get a knock at the door then, but it's just somebody jogging past. Yeah, so it's blurred on the back by CJ Sampson, who, like I said, we love here. But I just couldn't. The style of it, there's like run-on sentence after run-on sentence after run-on sentence, and I was like, no, this is not working for me at all. So if I start a book and the style really isn't working for me, I will just put it down. So yes, DNF is the first thing to talk about. And when we're talking about rating books, I'm talking about that because I have not given a 1 star since I started Booktube. I had a look at my GoodReads and I've never rated a book 1 star since I started my channel and started reading more and more as my Booktube journey has gone on. And that's because I DNF. So 1 stars don't exist for me. 2 star books do. I gave 2 stars to 2 books last year. The first of those was the I Heart Hollywood by Lindsay Kelk, which is the second in the I Heart series. I'd really enjoyed the first one, I Heart New York. I thought it was really fun. I think I gave it 4 star, but I think in the new rating system it'd be like a 3.5. Really enjoyed that first one, and the second one I thought was dreadful. Just the fat phobia in it, the diet culture, the main character just becomes insufferable and she makes some, like, not just annoying decisions, but stupid, like straight up stupid decisions. I did finish it, mostly I think because it was on audio and also it was kind of an easy read during term time, but that was a definite 2 star read for me, and I'm now finished and we're done with Lindsay Kelk. She's clearly not an author for me. And then the other one was, what was it called? Rachel Kane. Stillhouse Lake by Rachel Kane, which I read I think in December, and again I really hated it. The more I think about it, the more annoyed I am. That should have been a book that I really enjoyed and I just didn't. The writing style I thought was terrible. There's something that happens at the end that fully enraged me. Like I wanted to throw the book across the room, and yeah, we are one and done with Rachel Kane. I won't be picking up any others from her. The reason I finished that one was there was just enough happening, because it's a serial killer book. It was really dark. It should have been exciting and twisty, and it should have been a book for me. It just wasn't. But there was just enough going on to keep me turning the pages. So yeah, 2 star reads for me are rare because I usually DNF. And if I do finish a book and give it a 2 star rating, I've usually rage finished that book. So yes, 2 stars is not good. Then we get to 3 stars. 3 stars to quote Aoife from Pretty Purple Polka Dots. These are the books where there was a book and I read it. Like, they're the books that were fine. They weren't bad. They weren't offensive. But they also didn't hook me and weren't exciting particularly. And my example for this is The Prison Doctor, The Final Sentence by Dr. Amanda Brown, which I also read in January. This was fine. I gave it 3 stars. I feel like I won't remember reading it in 6 months' time, but at the time it was interesting enough to keep me turning the pages. They're kind of those books. Then 4 star. So as I said, I have been giving half stars, so 3.5 star would kind of be somewhere obviously in between. Like, I enjoyed it, it's a good book. I would recommend 3.5 stars and above, but I also wouldn't be shouting about it. So that's kind of where the half stars fall for me. 4 star books, excuse me, I really enjoyed. It just didn't give me that 5 star feeling. And like I said, my rating system is all about feeling. So if it didn't give me the 5-star feeling, which I'll talk about in a minute, it will become a 4-star or a 4.5. Example is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I think I've given all of these books 4 stars. This is, if you don't know, this is a cozy mystery series set in a retirement village, and we have 4 retired people who basically take on cold cases and see if they can solve them, and they kind of do it as a hobby and a kind of like theoretical exercise, and then someone is killed in their retirement village and they find themselves having to kind of put their skills to the test in real life. These are really fun for me. I think they're fun, they're cozy, they've got some like slightly darker themes. They talk a lot about like loneliness for older people and all of that kind of stuff. I think he writes really well. Like I said, I enjoy his characters, and yeah, I'm always happy when there's a new Thursday Murder Club book out. There are now 3, with a 4th one coming this year, and I just really enjoy these. They don't give me the 5-star feel, but I still thoroughly enjoy them, and I will keep them on my bookshelves. And then finally, that 5-star, right? So for me, a 5-star is a perfect book, and obviously that's subjective, so everyone is going to do this differently. But for me, a 5-star just gives me that feeling of, oh, I loved that book, and it's a book that I'll recommend again and again and again to loads of people. A lot of the books you can see behind me, all of the books you can see behind me are either 4 or 5 stars. I only keep books in my permanent collection if they are a 4 or 5 stars. So anything you can see here is 4 or 5 stars. The only exception to that is this one down here, which is the short story collection that goes with the 6 Tudor Queen series. I only gave this 3, and I keep thinking I should unhaul it. Maybe I'll get rid of this, but also it goes with that series, so I don't know. But everything else are 4 or 5-star books, and they're just that book that just, I'm like, oh, almost like when you see a little kid who gets overexcited and they go slightly rigid because they don't really know what to do with themselves. That's the 5-star feeling for me. And an example of that is Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. I love this book. It was the first book I read in 2022. It was a 5-star read. It ended up on my favourite books of the year list. If you've been watching my content, you've seen me talk about this probably multiple times in the year. It's part of the Practical Magic series. In terms of the chronological order of things, it's the oldest book, it's the furthest back in time, but it was the 3rd published because she wrote them in a slightly weird order. And I love this book. The rest of the series, not quite as successful for me, not all of them anyway, but this book, this is a 5-star. This is like one of those books when I hold it in my hand, I can genuinely, no pun intended, I can feel the magic coming off of it for me. Okay, so this is what I mean, it's so super subjective. So that is how I rate books. Excuse me. It's a constantly evolving process. For me, it's just a bit of fun. It's a way for me to categorise books. Like I said, I don't think about it too much. Please go and check out those other creators that I've already mentioned. There'll be others as well, I'm sure, who put a lot more thought into their ranking systems than I do. But for me, it's just so I can categorise the books, work out what I'm going to keep, work out what I'm going to recommend to you guys. And yeah, this is how I do it. So please let me know in the comments, how do you rate books? Do you rate books? Because I know some people don't. The other thing to say for me as well, I rate every book I read. I know there are some people who don't rate like non-fiction, for example, or they won't rate children's books. If I read it, I'm going to rate it. It's mostly just for my records. But I feel like if I read it, I can give an opinion on it. So I will. Yeah, so how do you rate your books? If you made it to this point in the video and you don't have anything specific to say and you just want to leave me an emoji, let's do, what should we do? What should we do for the emoji? Let's do a flower emoji just for the beautiful, gorgeous cover of this beautiful 5-star book. So yeah, leave me a leave me a flower emoji. If you want to, let me know you got to the end. Please subscribe if you would like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.